Speaking of crazy encounters with people, I had one of the most bizarre interactions I've ever had with anyone. This was months ago. I went to this woman's house, and I'm there to take a look at her furnace. We charge like $100 to show up. I get there and I'm like, hey, I'm Goop, here to check out the furnace. She was like, yeah, whatever. Which is weird for a number of reasons. One, you're paying money for me to show up to your house, like $100. Normally, you would care at least some because you're paying me. You care enough to pay me to show up, so you to suddenly be like, oh, whatever, I don't care, is weird. Secondly, some guest is now walking in your house. Sure, I'm just a service guy, but still, like, to be so offhanded towards me was really weird. I've never had that experience before. But I think nothing of it. I go downstairs to do my job. I come back up. And I'm like, hey, I finished. Everything looks great. She's like, oh, really? Like being sarcastic with me. And I'm like, what? Did I offend you? Like, are you... Did I upset you in some way? I've been nothing but cordial since I got here. So I'm going to sign the paperwork. And she starts rambling. And it takes me a minute to understand like what she's saying exactly. But the gist of it was, she was like, you know how like you get gold or like silver or whatever for like first or second anniversary? Well, it turns out for your 11th anniversary, the anniversary gift is supposed to be paper because my husband got me divorce papers for my 11th anniversary. Which I was like, holy shit. First of all, you obviously had that one in the barrel. You had that one saved up. That is way too well constructed. Also, that's hilarious. And I'm very sorry. That's a super dick move on his part to just show up for your 11th anniversary with divorce papers. Jesus Christ. But she was not done. I could see that there was like a crazy glint in her eyes. I could see we were just getting started. Because she's like, oh yeah, my life's completely falling apart. I'm getting kicked out of my house. So I started dating a homeless guy, right? So just right out of the gate. she comes out with it. Just pouring her life onto me. She's like, yeah, I started dating this homeless guy. I met him under an underpass. And, it's funny. I was driving him to the hospital because he told me he had cancer. Turns out his drug dealer lived near the hospital. So he was having me drive him to the hospital so I could drop him off for his drug dealer. But he's been off heroin for 2 months now. So we're good. Which means this happened months ago. That divorce paper thing happened months ago. She'd been dating this homeless guy for months and is now telling me about it, which I am just in shock. I'm still on the divorce papers thing, and then she's dumping this whole homeless guy thing on me. That came out of nowhere. And I think she must have seen that I was very confused because she starts to like normalize it. And she's like, so have you ever dated the homeless guy before? And I regret in some sense that I left shortly after that because I should have stayed there. Because if I gave her like 10 to 15 more minutes, I would have an entire stand-up comedy bit just about this one interaction. Because that was by far the craziest interaction I've ever had with someone. That shit was nuts. That was absolutely ridiculous. But anyway. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't date homeless people, but I was in at least $1 million house at the moment. So it was honestly probably a bit of a step down for her to be dating this homeless guy who was addicted to drugs and lying to her, and then her seeming to be bragging about that. That was weird. That was very strange. I hope she's doing all right. I never want to go back there, though. It's scary. She had, like, that crazy glint in her eyes where she was halfway between burning her house down and killing someone. And I didn't want to get caught in the middle of that. So I'm glad I haven't been back since.